I've got a confession to make. I'm not perfect. Although, you know, my wife does think I am. You might remember last year on the show, we did this area of my garden. It's not a very nice place for plants to live. There was a lot of shade, root competition, and there wasn't much moisture. Let's take a look at what worked, what hasn't worked, but most importantly, why it hasn't. One thing that's done really well is this Mona lavender plectranthus. Now, this has outperformed what I was ever thinking it was going to do. About 6 weeks ago, I gave it a haircut, and it's just covered in bloom, and it's going to flower all the way through autumn. So it's a really good doer. It does well with the variegated plectranthus as well, and I love that mix. The problem we have with it, though, is it all feels really flat. So I had imagined that these silver lady ferns would come up in between the growth, but this has just grown so fast that effect is lost. It got me thinking, though, that we needed more layers in this garden. So I've added a hydrangea at the back there, which is going to give us a bit more bulk. And then I've added in these amazing tree ferns. This is Dicksonia antarctica. You buy them by the foot, so this one's a 6-footer. You bury some in the ground because I'm not quite there. The tip with them, though, is you need to keep the crown really, really moist to get them to shoot, because that's where they take their water from. This side, I'm pretty happy with it. The two plants I was relying on the most, well, sadly, they've let me down. It's the hellebore and the cyclamen. Now, when they went in, they were flowering their heads off, so I think they put too much energy into that rather than focusing their energy onto getting roots out. You combine that with the fact there's not much moisture here and there's a lot of root competition, and you just get lackluster-looking plants. If I was to water them and feed them, they could come back, but instead I'm going to lift them up and move them to a part of the garden where they're going to be much happier long-term. What that does is it frees up lots of space so I can get some more plants in, and now is the perfect time to do it. With our offending plants gone, it's time to get on to a bit of crown lifting. Now, I'm going to do this to allow a bit more light into this garden bed, but it's really important with every garden to remember that it's always changing, so you need to constantly look at it and see what it's doing. You can see this branch here. It's going straight up through the canopy, so that's got a huge opportunity to rub branches on the way up and introduce sores and infection into the tree. So this is the first one to go. With our magnolia pruned, we've let so much more light into the garden. One of the first things you now see is this tibutina, and I didn't realize how much this star jasmine had got away. So I'm going to prune it back because I don't actually mind it growing through there. And then I'm also going to cut it back through here, removing the section through the garden bed to give me more planting space. You know, if you do pruning at home and you notice more light in a spot, think more plants. Ooh-wee. That was much more effective than I thought it was going to be. Whenever you get the opportunity to get fresh compost and soil into your garden, you've really got to take it. You know, you can apply compost as a mulch and the worms will drag it in, but nothing beats getting it into the ground and digging it through before planting. One of my favourite varieties of foxglove has to be this one, the pink panther. And I love it because you get all these side shoots instead of one big flower, which means you get much more bang for your buck. I'm placing them in shady spots, but ones that I know are going to get water. I know the tree fern likes its water at the top, so it's going to be excess at the bottom. Perfect location for those. I've also added some shrubs because I'm after some structure and I'm trying to get that variance in height that I'm missing along this side. I'm using Laura petalum and Eleagnus. They can both handle lots and lots of sun, but also they do well in dappled shade. To finish it off, I've got some lovely heucheras. We've got this green variety and a purple variety as well. These are going to form a mat-like cover, and unlike the hellebores, they need a lot less water. You can always tell a good, healthy soil. It's got lots of worms in it. I'll leave him alone to do his thing. Have a look at the colour of those roots. It's almost a shame I'm going to have to bury them. The last thing to do before putting down some mulch is to give the whole area some fertilizer. Now, the last time I did this was 12 months ago, so it's long overdue. I'm just using a pelletized chicken manure. I do it because it makes my fingers smell nice, but it lasts a long time. I'm then also going to give a liquid feed maybe once every 8 weeks just to top it up. Don't be scared of fertilizer. It's going to give your plants nutrients and you're going to get better growth.
Here we go.
A garden is always changing because it's always growing. Therefore, you've got to go back, make adjustments and tweak it. It doesn't matter if you're a novice or an expert. If you keep an eye on your garden and keep making changes, it takes it from something plain and simple into something really special.